Hello, today I'm joined by my guest Fraser Sutherland from SME Professional. We're also joined by Richard from BriefYourMarket and David Newton from Belvoir. How are you doing?
Oh, yeah, very good. Excellent. Lovely to be here as always, David.
I'm loving that. I can't get over the size of your logo there, but you're on brand and looking good, Richard. It's nice to see you.
Well, to get in trouble because it's not that on brand. It's not got a part of the Nurture Group under it now. It has to have that to be on brand nowadays.
Well, you've mentioned it now, so we know all about it.
You know now.
You kept that a secret. Fraser, I'm gonna come to you first because I'm sure that Richard and David are going to be able to sort of tell us how it is in practice. But you and I were talking off camera about integrations, and there are different types of integration, particularly when it comes to sort of how CRM systems communicate with other applications and other softwares. There are deep integrations which tend to be more meaningful because you're able to give them access to pretty much everything. And then there are very superficial integrations which tend to only grab vital bits of info. You have a philosophy around this, and it's more is more, right?
No, absolutely. I think it's all about giving the customer's choice, isn't it? So we've developed an incredibly large API infrastructure for third parties to integrate with. And we develop our own sort of different suites of API calls, everything from inspection app softwares can hook into it, any of them can, utilities swap over companies, that side of things, maintenance systems such as Fixflow. So, and again, fantastic stuff comes up BriefYourMarket where they can pull correspondence records and different triggers from the software. So we're very much a believer in an open platform that we don't charge third-party integrators to integrate with, and we're always constantly, I think we've got 100 plus integrations. As you say, they're not just a pass a name and an email address. They tend to be pretty deep integrations where there's a lot of information being drawn or pushed back and forth in a sort of bi-directional manner. So it really hopefully helps reduce a lot of double keying on behalf of customers and streamline the processes for their own customers in turn as well.
That's going to be music to the customers' ears. But in terms of being the other integration partner, Richard, how have you guys found it?
Well, it's fabulous. The key bit that Fraser mentioned there is that bi-directional bit. So we don't actually deem SME Professional as just an integration. We see them as a partner because the more we work on that bi-directional flow of contact, the more it's actually SME Professional software and BriefYourMarket's technology working together that creates the added value for the customer. Whereas if you just deem it an integration, most people think, oh, that's just taking data and putting it there and that's the end of it. Whereas it doesn't really end for us because it takes data, yeah, and it does put it there, but then we'll do some marketing communications, we'll produce some results, which we'll then put back into SME Professional. And so we see this as a partnership that David's got a million ideas how he wants to carry on this partnership growing and growing, giving Fraser and ourselves a massive job list. But that whole partnership of us working together on this bi-directional flow is the key to it. And on the early stages of what we've already done, is just going to be game changing for the likes of Belvoir and other customers that we've got on board with SME.
So David, from your point of view, that must be music to your ears, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I've worked with both BriefYourMarket and SME Professional for several years, and actually having willing participants at both ends of that is massively important. And, in the past, I've always had maybe had one willing participant, but if your CRM isn't going to talk to your integration partners or your integration partners aren't going to talk to CRM, you don't get anywhere. So for me, it was critical that both ends of this were done. And and it's really exciting to see already the advances we've had from the previous integration we had with another email marketing platform to what we're now going to be getting. And as Richard says, and as Fraser says, this being the start of a partnership, not the end of it. Where we can take this together and and just work together and do more with it.
now I understand you'll be hesitant to give too much of the game away, but we need to ask you, in reality, give us some of the sort of main functionality, Richard, that Belvoir are going to be able to look forward to going forward.
So they're going to be able to do automation of journeys triggered off a change of status, diary event entry, or an anniversary of diary event entry within SME Professional. And that those automations will also pull through the property feed. So we'll be able to automate properties out. So you'll have things like anniversary messages going on in there. You'll have welcome journeys. You'll have pre-valuation journeys, post-valuation journeys, all of that kind of stuff. But then to add another dimension to the mix, we've also taken an integration from the mortgage service that Belvoir Group own. So that we can then do, if we did that anniversary mailing at maybe a 3-year anniversary, we'll write out, we'll say to the homeowner, you've been in your house for 3 years now that you bought through us. In the area, house prices have gone up 20% over those 3 years. If you want an updated valuation, click here. Or here are the best rates for your mortgages against that property, taken directly from their mortgage partner. And if somebody clicks to interact with that, it can send that to the mortgage broker, but also feed that data back into SME Professional. So it's doing like constant journeys, but not just for the property transaction. You've got the mortgage transaction coming into it, conveyancing transactions, all of those kind of pictures coming into the mix here. And that's the direction that we're heading off in. It's doing a big picture of customer journeys. They can obviously then do newsletters. They can do the e-zines, electronic page turning magazines, which will pull in all the latest instructions and any price reductions since the last edition. All of those will go flying out of it. And then one of the key game changers for us is because we now own LeadPrep as well, which is the lead magnet that takes all the leads in from the portals, websites, social media advertising, pay-per-click advertising, literally everywhere, all into the one repository. We'll be able to start those journeys from the get-go, qualify those leads, inject them into BriefYourMarket, the ongoing journey at the same time they're injected into SME Professional, and then you'll have qualified leads going off down journeys. So that's where it will really transform, change things, and hopefully generate a lot more business for customers.
So Fraser, it sounds like it takes a fully functional CRM system that has quite a lot of power behind it already, but also gives it a major sort of boost in the direction of onwards sort of marketing and gentle nurture programs. This gives it that added edge, doesn't it?
Yeah, because it's nice. I mean, we've been producing cloud-based property systems since about 2006, and we're, as you know, we're a complete solution for sort of client accounting, property management, lettings, and sales software. But having these partners such as BriefYourMarket allows for data to come into our system. They're saying out to BriefYourMarket to do certain activities and back in again. And it's, as Richard's saying, it's that whole circular activity that's constantly going on, taking the best from both systems that really makes it quite powerful.
Absolutely, and David, as a user of these systems, your teams are presumably get to benefit from having a single source of entry, so they don't need to sort of double up and sprinkle that information across many different platforms.
Yeah, and absolutely, one single source of data entry is important. But one of the other things that it will definitely give us that I think is important is the ability to automate some of the operational processes that we have, like reminders about different meetings. But rather than it just being static reminders, being able to turn those operational things into potential sales opportunities. So it's the ability to use operational triggers, but in a marketing sense. Because, yeah, we can obviously send out a viewing reminder through the software, but actually being able to send out a viewing reminder saying, good luck at the viewing, this property at £300,000. If you're looking to, get a mortgage, these are the kind of rates and what that would look like utilising the lead sourcing integration that we have with our mortgage providers. So it's actually the ability to turn operational procedures into automated marketing tasks as well. So, I think we're at the beginning of that, and there's lots that we could be doing with that.
So, I mean, obviously that will help to add to your bottom line, but the net result of this in terms of the actual people that get to interact with it on the user side of it, being the end beneficiaries, so people that are receiving these messages, I'm presuming they're also receiving a much more enhanced level of customer service, because they're not just falling into that opportunity trap of, oh, we can offer them a finance deal here, but you are actually helping them. It seems like you are making more of an effort. You're giving them a gentle reminder, but at the same time, you're actually pushing them in the right direction.
Yeah, absolutely. And as a franchise group, we have to provide these systems to our franchisees to help them to provide the customer service to their customers. So for me, this is has double benefit of adding to my franchisees' bottom line, which is great for the franchisor's business, but also by giving us better integrated tools and solutions to help them to do these things. Because a lot of the time, we are supporting our franchisees, be it in compliance or marketing, but actually also to be able to provide the tools to help them to automate some of the key functions, not only to improve customer experience, but also to improve efficiency and to enable them to better support their customers. So for me, this is critical because it has operational benefits as well as marketing benefits. This is something that as a group we're able to provide by having willing participants at either end. So yeah, absolutely.
And they're so willing. I mean, I'm reading here in the notes that you provided that SME doesn't charge any of its integration partners for those integrations. So therefore, I mean, that is your philosophy, Fraser, isn't it? Take it down all the barriers to integrating.
Absolutely. We want a free-to-access API, that sort of things. We want, if our third-party sales, Richard's come to us with certain things he's wanted to see from the software, so our developers have expanded that API infrastructure to do that. It's just been the last week or two with a number of other releases that will be quite useful, I think, for BriefYourMarket in terms of prompting certain actions and resales and that side of things. So yeah, we were constantly building, expanding it based on what partners such as BriefYourMarket are looking for, which is hopefully beneficial to all our mutual customers.
And Richard,
I think that one of the things we've taken advantage of with that is we've not just integrated the BriefYourMarket technology, we've integrated the LeadPro technology and the Yondell technology, which means it doesn't matter what chat channel somebody's choosing, whether they're chatting to us and the lead's being followed up down here in Yondell with our live chat operators, or whether the lead's a lead that's gone into branch to a new lead that's generated into the LeadPro, or whether it's one we've nurture marketed to BriefYourMarket. All of those types of leads can now feed directly back into SME Professional.
And again, what's quite nice is sort of expanding as well what Richard's saying there is, we do property websites as well, and we do all the websites for the Belvoir group. And so we've been able to embed Yondell into the sites and, effectively spin straight round back into the software again. So it's always just nice pieces coming together.
It sounds absolutely like a dream. I mean, integrations classically are difficult to pull off, but to get somebody who's got as many sort of branches as Belvoir are going to have testing this, if you like, actively on a day-to-day basis, will give you the feedback that you need to sort of refine it and ongoing sort of improve things. I presume, Richard, that you guys in this market are being kept very busy with, it's the name of the game, keeping in touch with that audience and your customer base. It's becoming harder a little bit in terms of agents getting those results. So that slow and gentle nurture sometimes is what we need.
Yeah, 100%. It's about the slow and gentle nurture, but it's also maximising every single opportunity of data, we call it. Because actually, in reality, we find that if you leave engagement to just happen, you're missing loads and loads of opportunities. So every buyer that's coming in, registering from the portals, we want to find out whether they're also a seller. We want to find out whether they need mortgage information. We want to do all of that right from the get-go. But it's harnessing those in these economic times where it isn't as easy for the estate agents. They suddenly entered a tough market. Well, they need to make sure, therefore, that they are maximising the revenue per lead. So are they making sure they're talking to them about mortgages? Because actually, it doesn't matter whether a Belvoir customer goes and buys with another business if you've actually got the mortgage money and you've got your mortgage referral fee and you've earned money on that piece of data. Because no doubt that piece of data has come through from an expensive source. It might have come through from Rightmove, it might come through from pay-per-click advertising, it might come through from any of those.
Yep.
Well, you therefore have to show a return on the maximum number of those leads you can. So yeah, in this climate, we are kept very busy making sure that everyone's maximising the value of their data that's coming in. That's what we do.
So we've heard a little bit about how Belvoir are using it and are going to be using it. Obviously, Belvoir being a franchise group, we're talking in numbers quite a lot. But would this also be suitable, in your opinion, then for agents of all sizes, or is there a particular fit that this works for better than others?
My perspective. Well, from my perspective, yeah, it works for every single agent. We're just fortunate enough to have the likes of David, who he's quite insightful when it comes to how he wants the technology to work and how he wants us to have this partnership and where he sees it fitting in. And actually, that's helping be a beach stormer for us, really, in how we should join these two technologies together more and more in a partnership. But that will then work from a single branch agency up to a 100 branch owned agency. It doesn't really matter. It'll work for everyone from our perspective. I'm sure Fraser's probably the same.
Yeah, I think as well, just, obviously it's, with any franchise, they're effectively a fairly standard size individual agency, each branch in its own right, and we're effectively getting feedback from huge numbers, in terms of what people want to see in these sorts of integrations and what they've not had before, or what great ideas they've got themselves. So that all feeds back to David, who then sort of works with us and with Richard to actually say, how can we actually make this happen, which is quite nice. So.
It seems like an absolutely superb integration. I can see how that's going to continue delivering results for David and his business and his partnership there. Absolutely superb to touch base with you on it, and we look forward to seeing great things in the future.
Thank you, David.
Thank you.
Thanks for your time.
Real pleasure.